What if I told you United States of America is very soon going to lose its closest ally? Yes, we are talking about Canada. Canada, a country that used to spend almost 70% of its defense spending by importing American defense goods, weapons and equipment, is saying no more. So is this a simple policy shift, or is it indication of changing global power structure? Is this the beginning of an end for the American defense dominance in the entire world, more specifically in North America, or not? Let us try to decode this in more detail. Now, first of all, why we are talking about it? Because the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney recently has announced that he is going to reduce the defense expenditure of Canada, especially whatever defense items and goods it is importing from United States of America. He has made a statement that 70 cents of every dollar to US, the policy that largely Canada has followed in past several decades, is soon going to end. It basically means that till now almost 70% of Canadian defense spending was on United States of America directly and indirectly, and this particular statement itself has caused a lot of consternation among the American strategic experts as well as American defense within American defense companies and companies such as Boeing, Lockheed Martin, which used to be the major supplier of defense goods and weapons and equipments to Canada. They are going to suffer a massive blow. So this is a signal of major policy shift that Mark Carney has brought with himself in his tenure, and this is nothing but a continuation of the previous we can say policies also that he has cleared about, where he has stated that his goal is to make Canada more independent, and also as far as the defense is concerned, to be more focused more on indigenous production as such. Now, what is the current situation? As we have discussed, 70% of Canada's defense spending goes to United States of America, the suppliers of US, because you know that in United States of America, majority of defense production is privatized in nature, if you compare especially with India as such. So largely it is going to be the private companies who will face the blow from this particular decision. It indicates overall structural over dependence, because imagine 70% of your defense spending is on US. It directly tells you that for 70% of your defense requirement, you directly or indirectly depends on United States of America. And if you try to think the way how Donald Trump has handled Canada or has made remarks about Canada, not only during Carney's term but also during Prime Minister Trudeau's term, he has even went on and said that Canada is the 51st states of United States of America. He even joked and refer Trudeau as Governor Trudeau. So such kind of remarks and statement also we can understand might be one reason why Canada is drifting away from the orbit of United States of America. Now it creates a strategic and industrial vulnerability as far as US is concerned. Now, the reason for policy shift, apart from the political differences that both countries are currently facing, it is also due to the rising geopolitical tension. We know that since February 28, more specifically, the entire world is facing a crisis that has been a result of US Israel fighting war with Iran. The war that was supposed to last just for a couple of days till the military objective of US and Israel is achieved, now has entered on almost, we can say, its sixth week as such. Due to this, trade uncertainties are looming large over major countries, especially due to the blockage of Strait of Hormuz. And at the same time, the entire defense ecosystem and defense industry is being reshaped due to the rise of artificial intelligence, use of artificial intelligence in defense manufacturing processes, as well as technological changes. As far as the current situation is concerned, one thing we can see from all the wars that has taken place in the last couple of years, the modern war is not similar to conventional war. It is not being fought by people on the ground. It does not have to put boots on the ground. It is not being fought in conventional sense by use of tanks, artillery, ammunitions and all. Rather, it has become a warfare fought by electronic means. We have the use of drones, unmanned aerial vehicles and many such kind of system which are working independently and independently. So because of this, Canada feels there is a need for a strategic autonomy for such critical sectors. It should no longer depend on United States of America, especially if US itself is embroiled in war in certain different part of the world. In that case, if Canada needs to ramp up its defense production, it would face limitations as it is structurally dependent on United States of America. Now, Canada's strategic vision is simple: diversify defense partnership, And that is somewhere you can also equate this to the vision of India. When we talk about Atmanirbhar Bharat, especially in the defense sector, when we talk about the indigenization, it is similar kind of policy shift we are seeing in the Canadian defense ecosystem as well. It will overall strengthen domestic defense industry, that also can be beneficial for the Canadian economy, as it would lead to more flow of investment. It will lead to skilling of its youth population, and would helpful in generation of employment as well. It reduces external dependency, which is very critical, especially in the defense sector, and it can emerge as an independent global actor. If you try to think about the recent World Economic Forum summit where Mark Carney has participated, he has equated Canada with a middle power. So that is something also, the reflection of such a stance we are seeing in this policy shift. Now, as far as the United States of America is concerned, why this particular decision of Canada can be a major setback for US? Now, the biggest setback is due to the loss of market. We know that US has enjoyed its superpower position, and by its technological capabilities, its production, and its we can say it's what you can call as the high quality of defense equipments, ammunitions, weapons it produces, it has been able to supply it to large number of countries across the world. And because Canada-US shares a long border, actually longest international border between two countries in the entire world, and Canada-US both are member of the same NATO ally, their securities are interdependent to some extent, intertwined to some extent, and that's why Canada was a major market. Now, this loss of market is going to be a big blow to the companies such as we have discussed, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, we have we can talk about the Boeing as such, and overall reduced imports will impact US defense revenues as well. Now, at the same time, it weakens US export dominance and can see a rise of similar players at the global scale. To understand the effect, let us look at and break down the top 10 US imports from Canada as such. So, Canada imports majority of its mineral fuels and oil from United States of America. Then we have vehicles, nuclear reactors and all that. And here if you look, the aircrafts which are a part of basically defense expenditure, you can say, is making about $8 billion. So that's how we can understand the loss of market can be a significant we can say setback for United States of America. Second setback you can understand by looking at the decline of influence. The shift of Canada from the US market is not just a policy shift, it also shows a shift in the overall structural relationship between both countries. Both countries had enjoyed a longest standing partnership and friendship that to some extent now seems to be not at least coming to an end, then at least we can say Canada is looking for more friends, and new partnership. Defense ties has created a strategic leverage US had over Canada. It is because of this strategic leverage US was able to pressurize Canada in getting a lot of favorable deals, whether it is related to the tariff related deals, trade related deals or whatever. At the same time, reduced dependence would weaken US influence over Canada, and it signals shift in the Western alliance structure itself. The entire Western alliance structure, we can say, revolves around NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, where we see countries such as US, Canada in the Western Hemisphere, and then in the European continent you have all the countries that are part of the NATO in European Union, then you have the Northern and Western Europe as such. Third setback is because of not the single decision but the ripple effect this decision is going to have in the future as well. Because if Canada follows this particular path, it would also inspire, encourage other countries which till now are dependent heavily on America for their defense requirement to follow the suit. And other allies of US, such as especially the European partners, we can say, they can also follow Canada, and this can overall then promote a global trend of strategic autonomy. If European Union try to reduce its dependency on Canada, on United States of America, so same thing we can see taking place in the Middle East also, where all the Middle Eastern countries, Gulf countries, largely are dependent upon United States of America for their security architecture. So overall it weakens US-led defense ecosystem. Apart from that, also we have to understand that competition is going to increase, because Canada also is known for its rapid development of technology, cutting edge artificial intelligence and all, and that's where Canada is trying to invest in the future as well. It has focused its investment on domestic defense and artificial intelligence. That means it can create a better competition at the global scale. It can also, Canadian companies then can start to compete with the American companies as well, and then would eat the profit share of these companies. Overall, it again leads to the same conclusion that if the Canada continues to follow this path, couple of decades from now, we might see a significant reduction in US dominance as far as the defense innovation itself is concerned. Apart from that, also, if you look at the final analysis, what we can say that Canada's shift reflects a move toward a multipolar world. This is something that Canada has emphasized in the recent time, especially after the worsening of relationships after coming of Trump in his second term. And overall, the decline of US-centric defense orders, its indication can be clearly seen by such kind of policy shift. Rise of regional defense ecosystem we might also see in the future, where countries are no longer dependent on one superpower such as Russia, such as US, but rather they want to create a regional ecosystem where several countries can come together, produce defense related goods, technology and all that, and share together with each other. This can happen at the European Union scale itself, where countries can try to rely less and less on US for the future defense security partnership as such. Overall, what we can say is that it's not that Canada is now breaking away from United States of America. It is not that Canada and US partnership in the defense sector itself is coming to an end. What we can say, however, is that from the recent statement given by PM Carney, it seems that Canada is no longer looking at US as its single reliable partner. It is trying to find more partner in this multipolar world that Canada also wants to be a strong partner of. So that's all for this particular video. If you like the video, please like button, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more such content. Thank you very much.